Hey yo 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 yo
We
yo, we're
back.
back. Had a little bit of a break there. I know we were going to take a break, and then we didn't take a break, and then we didn't say nothing, and then we took a break. I had like
Because
kind of a
that's how we
last
are.
minute. That's how we are. Well, spontaneous. You never know what you're gonna get. I had a family thing, kind of impromptu, so I dipped out for a little while. So that's why we didn't have an episode this last Wednesday. And then I spent the time since then catching up on other projects, as some of you may have seen on the Overly Critical group page, where I post promos for our T-shirts and for bonus content that I've been working on forever. So lots more of that stuff to come. It's really fun to put together. So I hope a lot of you will enjoy some of the stuff that we've made, and we'll talk more about that near the end of the episode. How you doing, Maddie?
I'm good. I mean, except that I have to get a new car tomorrow, but
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
Adult
just tell me about that
things.
off air.
Yeah.
That's a, but it's like sucks. You got to go through that problem, but in a little bit amount of time, you're gonna have a new car, so it's like exciting.
I know, I'm excited
And
for it.
yeah,
But I don't want to spend the monies. I mean,
yeah, that's
but
how
but
I've
thanks,
been lately.
but thanks, Papa Biden. That 1400,
Oh yeah, I
14
gotta check
hundo
the
is going to
bank.
help.
Yeah, I gotta check the bank. I can't wait. I'm gonna save my money. I'm gonna get that van and then podcast from a van like Tom Green does. So watch out,
Sometimes,
America.
sometimes Maddie and Steffi will be together, and sometimes Steffi will just be outside in the
I'll be
world.
like, man, it's so beautiful out here. I wish you could see it. Oh, wait, come on with me. So that's the dream. But as you can tell, my background is a little different. I have relocated. I think I mentioned that in the last episode that I was going to relocate. I liked the cool textury thing I was doing with the window at my sister's place, but as things are, I moved on to greener pastures. Well, different pastures, and in there, greener in ways. Anyway, uh, it's been good. So I'm just getting settled in after I moved and then went on the family thing, and I came back, and so I just kind of been organizing my life a little bit here, and it feels nice getting a lot done, trying to get a bunch of overly critical content set up and ready for all you guys. Um, I'm sure there's a lot going on in the news and stuff. I figured maybe we would just wing it a little bit here. We're going to get into our review of
You
Shadow
know
in the
the
Cloud.
the
Oh, go
only
ahead.
news we need to discuss right now is
Yeah,
Snyder Cut drops tomorrow. That's
that's
all
right.
we need
That's
to
right.
discuss. What else
Yeah,
is there?
the hype, the hype
We'll
machine is
see.
monumental at this point.
I
But
didn't. Yeah, I did not expect the reviews to be as positive as I'm seeing. I haven't read any of them because no spoilers for me.
yeah,
But I'm more excited than I was before. That's for sure.
yeah, it'll be a treat. It's coming at us. One of those things where the internet cried out for it, and then the studio just decided it was a worthy enough endeavor to let Zack Snyder produce or whatever release. So I'm really excited to see how it all is different from the original. I know it can't be so different, and some of the story is more or less the same. It sounds like, but I'm excited to see what is up. And I've been those action figures for the movie are actually really great. And I'm not a big McFarlane action figure guy. I know that sounds crazy. Behind me, you see the Star Wars Black Series. That's my jam. But up until now, I had not really enjoyed the McFarlane figures that have been coming out. They're just a little not my style, but the Justice League ones look really good. Just wanted to throw that out there and let everybody know about it.
He's going to get a Batman.
Oh, we have an overly critical registry. If you want to put a spring in my step and
Here's my Amazon wish list.
feed my man child, my inner man child. Just kidding. um, but Maddie and I are happy to come back and get back into it and talk some movies. We have some cool ideas for successive episodes. It seems like there's just a ton going on in the movie world. The Facebook group has been awesome. Everybody on the group has been amazing. Posting, like engaging, getting everybody in conversation. There have been a lot of interesting releases lately, and a lot of films I want to cover off the group. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But I say, without further ado, let's have this discussion, this review on Shadow in the Cloud. Is that right? I know I've written it down like 4 times.
Yeah, Shadow in the Cloud.
Shadow in the Cloud, starring Chloe Grace Moretz and a bunch of yahoos. And
Bunch of sexist yahoos.
I want to approach this like a pros and cons list, because I was
Yeah, let's
very
do it.
conflicted watching the film. I think when we have a con, maybe just we could try and think of a pro and see how things balance out. It was admittedly a tough watch to get through, but there were things I enjoyed. So it was like a very interesting experience. How'd you feel about Shadow in the Cloud?
Well, we're just doing initial reaction kind of thing right now.
Yeah, initial reactions. If you're coming up with your cons, maybe try and think of some pros and some stuff you liked, and then we can kind of ping pong from there.
So I will say, watching this trailer, I was like, "Ooh, this is a Maddie movie. Got me a creature, got a badass lady, got some war vibes going on. She's got a
Badass
she's
lady.
we got a mysterious package that maybe this creature's trying to get to. Who knows what's
Right.
going on? I'm sold. I'm
Yeah.
like, and I think Chloe is a great actress. I've liked her in most of the things I've seen her in, and I was stoked
Yeah.
for it,
Same.
man. So then I put on the movie, and I was like, wow, there's a bunch of sexist assholes in this movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then it's always that balance of, well, we got to get it right for the time period. I'm like, yeah, but do you? That doesn't, like, who gives a fuck?
Right.
To me,
And
it's like I didn't
yeah.
need that. But overall, I love like the monster aspect of it. I thought the gremlin looked really cool. I
Yeah.
liked, all the action. There's like ridiculous stuff in it, like when she falls down and gets blown back into the. I mean, just the ridiculousness of it makes it a great B movie, a great
Right.
monster B movie, and that's all I wanted. And I even think like the final showdown at the end was even cool. I mean, it's hard to do CG in
Yeah.
the daylight,
Yeah.
but I thought
But
it
that was
worked
good.
fairly well. I mean, the worst part about this movie is just like the sexist shitty dudes.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, why can't I just.
Yeah. So before we get too far ahead, I'll just read for the audience members who are tuning in, who are only kind of caught wind of this film based on what's been going on in the group or based on our posts or whatever. So Shadow in a Cloud is about a female World War II. She's like it says pilot here on the IMDb, but I think she referred to herself as something else. Anyway, a female World War II pilot traveling with top secret documents on a B-17 Flying Fortress, and they encounter an evil presence on board the flight. And then, as Maddie mentioned, it's a gremlin, and they play up again. I want to point out how the Twilight Zone is basically the only thing that we've really been watching all these years. With this
Yeah.
gremlin attacking the flight, it's just like every great science fiction movie has an episode of Twilight Zone somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's directed by a woman, surprisingly, Roseanne Leong, and written by Max Landis, as well as with Roseanne Leong. But it is aggressively misogynistic, and I understand the argument where it could be like, well, not many women in the military or whatever back then, so the guys would have been this way or whatever. But and I imagine that's true in a lot of ways, like sure, but I weep for the man Max Landis who believes that the world he's putting on screen in the screenplay is a realistic representation of humanity in any way,
Yeah.
and speaks deeper volumes to his own perspective on women or something. It was tough to watch, really, the first 2/3 of the film. And in terms of the pros and cons kind of thing, the music was great. It was really fun. The cinematography, the visuals were great. The effects were really good. Even the small, low budget stuff with the green screen, I like that. I thought that was great. But man, it makes you work for it through some of that dialogue. And it's not even
Dude.
because it's bad script writing, but mostly because of how misogynistic this fucking movie is, especially right out the gate.
I mean, for me, like the movie, like as soon as like the movie starts, I'm like, all right, I know I'm in for a creature flick. So you've already got Maddie's attention at this point. But
Yeah.
so when she gets on the plane, there's all these sexist, misogynistic remarks, and it's like, all right, cool, that's probably it. That's all I'm gonna get. But no, they push
Right.
it even further when she has to go in this weird little cockpit area because they don't have room for her on the main deck
Right.
or whatever. Which is like,
Yeah,
it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like why right? Like why? It's almost like Max Landis was like, I hate. Well, I mean, he's been accused of sexual assault allegations, so apparently he doesn't like women because it's
Right.
almost like when she's overhearing all these like sexist fucking shit, it's just like he just like keeps on pounding it home, and it's like why
I know.
this
I was just like,
it, it
wow.
makes, and then these guys ultimately meet their end in various ways, and I mean it's kind of like, oh cool, they're dead, but
Hmm.
where you could have, instead of them being like, say a sexist remark and someone be like, yo dude, don't got to treat women that way, and learn to
Yeah.
love these characters that way, when
Yeah.
they do meet their end you
Or
would
maybe
care
have,
more because it's,
yeah. Or maybe
yeah,
have
and
more
it's
dynamic characters where one character kind of exemplifies this kind of misogyny or something like that. It was just incredibly overt. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, you're fine.
Yeah, it was the Gremlin looked really cool. Again, like the effects and stuff. There was a lot of moments where the adventure part of it was really. I loved the tone of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it just didn't seem to let up, and there was a lot of expository kind of things going on with the dialogue. So the story was like, kind of all over the place. But Chloe Moretz's performance was really solid, and she's a really talented actress. And at first, I'm like, oh, how could you want to make this movie based off the script or whatever? But she made the decision to be in it too, so maybe it wasn't from a woman, from her perspective, not. Maybe it speaks to where we're at being more woke, but it seems to work in completely the other direction.
I mean,
Max
they
Landis.
do. Yeah, I mean, so from what I understand about the flick is like he wrote it, then the sexual assault allegations, or I'm sure there might be more or whatever.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's all I need to know. He's canceled. I'm not watching any more of his shit. Uh,
Right.
and so when I watched this, I didn't realize he wrote it. So it was like, oh,
Hmm.
well, I'm already here. I already spent the money on it. I'm gonna finish it. And
Yeah.
so, and then they said that they went in and reworked the script. So I don't know if like maybe she wasn't as strong as a female character, and maybe they had already shot some of this stuff
Uh-huh.
in the beginning, and they're like, well, we can't reshoot an entire movie at this point, you
Right.
know. So because I do think that she is like the Ripley of this movie.
Yeah.
Like all the guys are kind of like these sexist assholes, but then don't know how to fight, which I thought was like, she does all these
Yeah.
amazing things throughout the movie, time and time again. And even as ridiculous as some of them are, they're just kind of fun. Like you could never
Yeah.
do that, but you know, it's fun to watch because it's unbelievable, but you can get away with stuff in a B movie, monster movie.
Right. Totally.
So
And she was, it's I hope that she gets more uh I hope to see her career develop in interesting ways from here on out. The movie was, like I said, I'm like so conflicted inside because I did enjoy a lot of the approach here, but I think mainly the script writing was just really strangely allowed in certain ways, and maybe it's like a totally different perspective from somebody else's perspective. I know we had some comments on the group about the film, and people really genuinely, like me, like you, enjoyed aspects of the film, um, but I guess it weighs on the different person's subjective like sensibilities wherever that registers. But for my money, I'm kind of think Max Landis is a bit of a monster.
yeah, I mean
So
I mean he
yeah.
had this really great show called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency,
Yeah.
and I loved the first season. And then like the second season came out, and I watched like half of it. Then the allegations came out, and I was like, kind of just put a like bad taste in my mouth when I watched the show. But I like Elijah Wood's great in that show, and the guy who plays
Yeah.
Dirk Gently's great.
Yeah.
And I just never finished it because it was like, well, because they're like after that there was going to be no third season, and I was like,
Hmm.
you can't get another writer, like he's the only guy that can write this, like
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
just put a sour taste in my mouth. And I didn't realize he had anything to do with Shadow in the Clouds. I just knew it was like a female director, and
Right.
Chloe
And
Grace was in it, and I was like, and watched the trailer, I was like, that looks sick. And maybe I just missed his name popping up. I don't They might have not
mhm.
even cut it from the
It didn't
trailer.
seem they build it. Maybe there was something with the controversy of him being called out or
Yeah,
whatever. But the trailer looked good too. Like I was like, holy shit, this is like nobody else is talking about this except for like our small group of friends.
yeah.
And it's it's just interesting when a movie turns out in such a, it's weird. I will say it's just very weird the way the movie plays out. And man, I felt bad for her having to even be on set, and I felt bad for some of these actors having to say some of this stuff. But when you're working with artists, I guess they have their vision, and so maybe there's a little bit more commentary that is intended there. I started watching Promising Young Woman. I'm going to get on it for those who mentioned that on the group as well. And that one, I only saw the starting, but it has, kind of some similar ideas are being approached about the way women are seen and the way men and women, kind of a cynical view of the way men and women interact, which in these days and age, like that's not too far from reality. So it's interesting to see misogyny in the sky.
So what this episode should have been called.
I thought about it, and in my first graphic that I posted, it was just like, are there any redeeming qualities of sexism in the sky or whatever? But I didn't want to like be overt in an attack, even though I think it's warranted. I wanted to not alienate people to come and listen and also share their comments. If anybody's out there, you want to share some comments and tell us what you thought about Shadow in the Cloud. Jump on right now, go to streamyard.com/Facebook or something like that. The directions are in the heading for this post. But yeah, so overall, out of 10 strangely enjoyable / at the same time disgusting romps, how many do you give Shadow in the Cloud?
I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Wow, that's much higher.
Because I had a lot of fun with it. Like, yes, this movie has its issues, but I kind of look at it like when I rewatch like a lot of like 80s movies that are also very problematic, but Jesus, what am I trying to think of? Like, I don't even know, but I just like, I kind of just go, okay, this is shit. I think as long as you recognize that it's shitty for these reasons, then, to me, I can enjoy what's good about it. Yeah. Would I like throw this on for a group of friends? They're like, yeah, let's have something fun to watch. No, I would be like, hey, trigger warning, really sexist flick. If you want to watch it, I'm down. But it's also like the first 20 minutes of this movie are the worst.
I'm actually offended by the company that released it that they didn't put one of those problematic Disney things on right away. And then I'd been like, oh, okay. That's an interesting loophole / time we're in to see those. Because
like I said, when I started, I was like, all right, got to get the like macho army shitty dude out of the way. And then everyone else kept on saying, I was like, oh God, this is a plane full of shitty dudes. Like, what the fuck? I was like not prepared.
The captain's like, now, let's, be reasonable, guys. Let's listen to what she has to say. And she's like, you're all in danger. There's a monster in the thing. You fucking bitch. You stupid idiot. You're going to stay down there. You shut up. And they turned the thing off on her. I was like, wow. Yeah. I'd be like, well, fuck you guys. I'll just let the gremlin eat you. Which I guess it broke through glass, but I was going to say she would have been safe, but I guess the plane would have crashed. Anyway, shitty dudes. Some of them get some good deaths though, which was
it's like pretty violent deaths, which was it's just you could have written like just legit dudes.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone went and saw that movie and went, ugh, unrealistic. Those guys just need to say more misogynistic bullshit. Even though there's a fucking gremlin and she gets blown back into the plane after she falls out of it.
Yeah.
Never gonna happen. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Chloe Moretz has the chops. You know what I mean? She's been pretty much rocking it since day one. With varying degrees of success and interesting projects. Yeah. So, why not? I don't know. Why not?
I mean, maybe the script like just read differently and it didn't seem as bad. But
I've seen a lot of World War II movies. Not any of them are like this aggressively.
No.
racist or misogynist. Not that this is racist, but you know, like,
I
wow.
mean, out of all the war movies that I like, just off the top of my head, Dunkirk doesn't do it.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, there's not a woman that shows up, but at any point, I'm sure guys are just, you know, being sexist assholes at any given time. I get it. I know what guys do. It's like,
yeah,
but Saving Private Ryan, is there any bad stuff in that? I don't know. It's Spielberg. He's wholesome.
yeah,
That
yeah,
movie's
exactly.
captivating as shit.
And Max Landis is like that fourth. I don't know what generation he is, but he's like that next generation Hollywood. You know, he knows. There's just something about his approach that's so antagonistic and has been lately. So it's no wonder the allegations have like boiled to the surface, and I could understand someone feeling like inadequate or like women don't aren't attracted to them, or you know what I mean, just feeling unattractive or something. But you know, I can't understand how like hateful somebody could be. I guess not to say that that's what the situation is for him, but you know, he probably
I'm
has
just
this
assuming the
attitude.
worst.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. He probably has this attitude going into his interactions with women. So his you know, he probably just doesn't strike up a good rapport with most women, and now because of
And
these
I also think it's
allegations, I mean, it's like
probably like being John Landis's son, and like he's been in the not, and I
this
guess like
entitlement.
yeah. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be like the son of someone famous in a
Yeah,
certain genre, because like John Landis made some great flicks, you know,
yeah,
and
true
like in
that.
certain circles, I'm sure he's like, you know, and like talks about his projects, and I think like Dirk Gently did pretty well. Like people really like that, and I'm sure that gives you a big head. And I
Yeah,
don't know.
he did a
I
cool
don't know,
video
dude. I
called.
just could have been different.
Yeah, he did a cool video. Not to, I mean, we'll see what happens with this guy, but he did a cool video called "Wrestling Isn't Wrestling," where he outlined what's great about modern professional wrestling in terms of its storytelling medium, and how it's all these great things, but the one thing that it actually isn't is wrestling. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty novel kind of like concept, because I grew up watching a lot of wrestling and thought it was cool. But you know, yeah, I mean,
You
and
already hated him.
Chronicle was kick ass back when it came out, and so I don't know. Hopefully, this guy can redeem himself with some kind of therapy.
He's canceled.
But
Canceled,
yeah,
bro.
he's if he's not
Get
already
out of
completely
here with that
canceled.
bullshit.
I agree.
What's your score
But
out of 10?
oh yeah, that's right. So I the first part of this movie was just infuriating, and I couldn't understand what I was watching. And then the last part was fairly enjoyable and kind of picked up, and I got into it. So I'll just have to go and say, because I did enjoy a little bit of it, but I don't condone half of what was said in the film. I'll go ahead and say for this one, I'm going to do a 5.5.
Dang. Yeah.
Which we both rated it higher than IMDb, which is at a 4.8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I,
it's
yeah. I
interesting. It
mean,
was fun at times.
like I said, there's a lot of shitty stuff in it, and trigger warnings all over the place. Don't watch this movie if, like,
Yeah,
just don't.
true.
But getting through it and not like watching it and not realizing it, and then getting through all that terrible stuff, like the creature stuff worked for me, the over top action, you know. And then some of the characters do come around to how badass she is. I don't think it's warranted or they deserve it, but I do like that all the men are kind of in awe on how powerful and badass she is.
Right.
So
Yeah.
made me give it a little higher score. Now, if it would have just been like she just saved the fucking day, and they're like, "Yeah, but you're still a dame," I would have been like, "Ugh, get the
I
fuck
know.
out of here with this movie."
Yeah. It
But
just
like,
like it sounded like a comic book too at times. So then like the cringiness of the misogyny plus just the kind of real pulpy cheesiness of it maybe.
yeah, like I said, if any of the sexism, misogyny you're not into, don't watch this
Yeah.
movie. I
Yeah.
watched it so you don't have to.
That's true. We both did.
Yeah,
Kick
but
ass.
Chloe's good in it.
Well, she is, and I hope for more stuff. I would love to see a spin-off Hit Girl movie or something. She was awesome in the Kick Ass movies.
Yeah,
or something else. The let me in, let
Let
me
Me In
in.
is the American
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I was not a big fan of that, although Matt Reeves, he's doing the Batman, so maybe deserves a
You
second
know,
look. The
as
Swedish one
much
was just
as
so good, but she's
yeah,
great.
no. I think to hand that movie like to go, this movie's great. America needs a version of it. You could have done far worse than handing it over to Matt Reeves and the cast he
That's
got for
true.
that movie.
That's definitely true.
And I definitely think it's the best American version anyone could ever make. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
so
It was not awful either. It lacked a little
no,
bit of the subtlety and the nuance of the Swedish version, but the story is still really interesting and pretty unique. So for American remakes, it's not really terrible.
and I think like for the most part the cast is solid in that
Yeah,
movie. I like
definitely.
rewatched it not too long ago because I was like, did I like this? I don't remember. I remember not hating it, but how do I feel
Yeah.
now? And then I watched that, and then I watched Let the Right One In. I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's so much better than that.
Yeah,
But
so good. If you have
double
not
featured up.
seen that, definitely watch Let the Right One In. We maybe we'll get into that one here pretty soon. Maddie and I are going to start doing a lot more kind of like retrospective reviews. Was it so bad kind of thing, or needs a revisit kind of films, and those are going to bleed into what I launched today on the group, the Overly Critical Classics. Our first episode is The Crow. I finally finished it. I could have finished it more. There's a lot going on these last couple weeks, but finally got it finished. I have it up for early access right now for our Patreon patrons, and then it will be released next week for your viewing public. But I do ask that you go to that YouTube channel and you subscribe. Leave
Click
a
that
comment
button.
and click that button, leave a comment and you'll get a shout out. Before we leave though, I wanted to just dive on into what have you been watching with Matty and Wolfie. You go first. What have you been watching, Matty?
Okay, so I'm gonna say two things that don't have anything to do with the movie club, but
Ooh.
I highly recommend them. So I read a book called The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher, I think is the name. Really fun, kind of North Carolina Southern weird Green Man, The White People by Arthur Macon kind of book, which is pretty fun to read. I read it really quickly and I was just captivated by it. And I recommend it if you need something kind of spooky to read. I would make a really cool series or a really cool movie, I think, if it was done correctly. And then I'm gonna have a
What's it called
music
again?
pick. It's called
What's that?
The Twisted Ones by
Put
T.
that on the
Kingfisher. She writes like a lot of sci-fi, but she's been recently dipping into that horror genre a little more. But she uses a different name. I don't remember her real name.
There's that
But
for you folks on Maddie's recommendation, a book. I sure like books. What did Frank Zappa say? I sure like books, I like books, but they sure do make me sleepy. I've been reading the same book for almost 2 years now.
Same.
I just can't get through it. But I like it. I enjoy it. What was your next thing you were going to say?
So the next thing is an album. It's called White Void. The name of the album is Anti. And it's so good. It's like 70s, 80s metal, but with a lot of like, I don't know. You've listened to it. You can probably describe it. It's a good. It reminds me of Ghost, kind of what Ghost is doing now with their like kind of operatic, like what Ghost BC does or whatever their name is actually, whatever they go by. But
yeah, I think they're Ghost now. They got over all that stuff. Just
but it's just a
good,
good 70s, 80s metal album with a lot of like newer. Oh my god!
Ripping bluesy guitars, soaring
very
vocals,
proggy.
It's a wicked album. I also highly recommend this album for you if you like the heavy sound. Also, we haven't talked about it too much on this one, but we also have a music group called Heavy Rotation on Facebook there.
Yeah.
I suspect somewhere down the road here, as we're now getting pretty nice and cozy with our Overly Critical Movie Club, you'll be seeing more podcast style content and deep dive review type content for our Heavy Rotation page. Just going to plant that seed right now. look for that in the near future. But you know, we
It's
like talking music like the Dickens as well, my friends. Auntie by White
and
Boy.
yeah, one last thing. It's based on a lot of Albert Camus writings. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, his last name anyway. But it's
Uh-huh.
kind of a darker. A lot of the material, the lyrics are pretty dark, and but the music is kind of uplifting, and that's what I like about Ghost a
Right.
lot.
Oh
Because
yeah.
you kind of have this darker imagery with these kind of like
Oh
power
yeah.
ballads and like proggy kind of like cool riff breakdowns, but
All
it's all about
day.
like it's all about how the world's going to end and everything sucks and like you're just like so good. And then
Yeah.
I think I have just started as I started Vice Principals because I'm on that Righteous Gemstones
Nice.
train and I needed the next best thing and it's Vice Principals. I'm like 5 episodes in. It's great. I love it.
I too need to get on the Vice Principals train. I saw like the first or second episode and I was like being overly critical about it and saying maybe
Like we
like,
do. Like we do.
Jody Hill, his content is over the hill, whatever. But then Righteous
Yeah.
Gemstones came and kicked me right in the square in the nuts. So,
I,
um,
I will say that it is very tiresome to watch Danny McBride almost play the same character every time.
yeah,
He never knows how to talk or get women or like
yeah,
whatever he's trying
right.
to do. It's
He's
just
that. It's he hasn't. He has changed, but it's still at its core. It's that same character from Foot Fist Way and
well,
like the
yeah, dude. It's
novelty of
that.
being just a total dick.
And then it's like I'm gonna make Seth Rogen do the same thing and observe and report. It's just like
Yeah,
so.
I
It's
love observing the
but I love Walton Goggins and oh god,
Mm-hmm.
the girl
The
that plays the
Gaggy.
sister. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the girl that plays the sister in Righteous Gemstones, Ida something. I'm totally blanking on her last name, but she is hilarious, dude. And I will watch
Yeah,
her
she's
in anything.
amazing.
But yeah, that's
The
what I've been up
Osage.
to lately.
I misspelled that there, or with the capital I. But Righteous
They
Gemstones also,
know.
check out any of that stuff. Look up Jody Hill's work if you're unfamiliar with Jody Hill. It's a particular type of sense of humor, but I think it's quite good.
You,
In the vein of maybe like,
also, trigger warning.
yeah, trigger warning for sure. They find weird ways to offend you in some ways, but it's all
Yes,
worth
they
it.
do.
Eastbound and Down is
Well,
one of my favorites ever. I just recently discovered, what is it? I Shouldn't Have Survived. Have you heard of this show?
is this a television show? I
Yeah,
think I have heard of this actually. I haven't seen any episodes though.
I want to write it down. Hold on. I'm gonna misspell it. I don't care. I shouldn't have served it. But the show I shouldn't have survived is harrowing, man. I have always skimmed across this in my Amazon Prime thing, and I'm really into like, like man taken to extremes. For those just joining in, I know it's misspelled, but I don't care. And so I
Don't
was
judge
watching
us.
Alone, and there's no more a new Alone coming out currently. So I was like, man, what's the next thing? And the recommendation that I caught was shouldn't have survived. And the first couple stories out the gate were like, I was like kind of cringing, like holding my body, like I could feel their pain. It's
Yeah, I actually have seen
incredible.
episodes of this.
Yeah.
I think there's one where a guy him and his family get stuck in a cave or something, and it's like an
Yeah. So in
avalanche
this,
happens, or yeah,
yeah, probably different stories, but the second episode was similar. It was like a guy and his wife were adamant about getting to a funeral and driving through a snowstorm. They ended up taking the wrong road and going way off road in this mountainous area, and they were completely stuck. Nobody was going to come and find them, and just like the things that people go through just trying to stave off death. The first episode was about these people whose yacht off the coast off California or somewhere, I think it was California, the yacht sank, and everybody they weren't in like the life raft, they were just in like a little dinghy, so there was no supplies for them, and a few of those people like started just dropping off after a while. And oh, it was crazy. It was like as harrowing and frightening as any like high class movie, and it was just my type of my type of show. I shouldn't have survived was pretty cool. I'm also getting on that Promising Young Woman, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I caught. Coming to America, I saw the sequel to Coming to America, and it's all right. We'll give you just a quick little hot take here.
Give
In
it.
fact, I'm going to go all out real quick. Boom! Welcome to a hot take, an episode within an episode.
I didn't know this was
And
happening. So excited.
so I'm just going to say, did you watch Coming to America at all? Yeah.
No.
No. It's all right. It's pretty fun. It's funny. It's not nearly as funny as the original, obviously. It pokes fun at itself quite a bit, but I like the Eddie Murphy revival that's going on. I really loved that Dolomite movie that he made recently. So I was game for Coming to America. Lots of good people, lots of funny people, some pretty good jokes that hit, some pretty stupid stuff that's a little bit too like self-referential of our modern day and time kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, YouTube references or some shit. But overall, it was like a bunch of music. It was kind of like a Kevin Smith movie now, where it's just like, let's bring back the old gang and like have some stupid moments and stuff. So for the most part, you're just like, I'm really enjoying this, even though I know it's not going anywhere. It doesn't mean anything. So that's my review for Coming to America. That's the hot take. Anything you want to hot take that you hadn't mentioned before I get rid of this logo?
No, I don't think so.
Any quick reviews? No? All right. No problem.
I haven't I've been reading a lot. I'm reading.
that's
I am
good.
reading Guillermo del Toro Chuck Hogan book called The Hollow Ones. That's pretty fun.
That sounds
It's
wicked.
about like black magic and possession.
All right.
And the biggest takeaway from this is, man, I wish this was a Del Toro movie, because I'm so into it.
My camera went out of.
I see that.
There we go.
It's good. But
that sounds pretty cool. I think I saw like an ad for that.
yeah, it's going to be like a 3-part series, and once I finish it, which will hopefully be the next time we do a Wednesday cast, I will give my little hot take on that if I do finish it. But like I said, I got to buy a car tomorrow.
Yeah.
How's that day going to go?
Godspeed. Yeah. Hopefully pretty good.
Yeah, me too. Hope so.
Cool. Wicked. Well, that's pretty much, why do I sound really weird right now? That's pretty much
Sound
our
perfect.
episode for this evening. Yeah, something again, weird echo. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's our show for this evening. Thank you all for listening in and coming to watch us and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with another episode. We're still deciding on what that's going to be, a review of what, or maybe some news. Actually, we got to get caught up on WandaVision, so we'll probably be talking some WandaVision. I do want to discuss Promising Young Woman, so you'll probably be seeing that. And I would just like to go ahead and direct you to our Patreon page, and if you are so inclined and are financially able to support content you like and love, go to patreon.com/overlycriticalmovieclub and leave us a little something. Like I said, if you're so inclined, don't feel pressured to, but please do go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel. I'd like to get those numbers up. We got some good content coming for you this year. Speaking of which, we just launched our Overly Critical Classics. These are deep dive episodes, much in the vein of the RoboCop episodes that we did when we were just a podcast. Short-lived, I know, kind of transitioned right into this. Took a little while. But anyway, the RoboCop episodes, they're on our YouTube channel as well, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say RoboCop episodes. But they're deep dive, a little bit more podcast style. I edit in a lot of like visual aids and things to go along with what we're talking about. So there's a lot of great comic book art in it. There's a lot of good clips. There's a really cool clip of the Skull Cowboy and Brandon Lee, a scene that was cut from the film that I was able to track down. So there's some fun stuff in that episode. Go to Patreon right now. Any level of patron support will get you early access to that. Otherwise, it will release on 3/24
Nice.
to our group of peeps on the Facebook group as well as on YouTube. And if you have not joined our Facebook group yet, go to facebook.com/ actually, I found out this is a /, not a /. I have been wrong. Facebook.com.
See, I thought it was called a / and I thought I've been doing it wrong this entire time.
Yeah. It took me watching a whole other YouTube video the other day to be like, wow,
We're fools.
Whoa. But to be fair, I was only slightly educated in art school. So forgive me for
He can make
being.
you a feature film and draw you some cool characters, but he don't know no lingo. We don't know nothing about no computers here.
I'll figure it out. So yeah, go join our Facebook group if you have not yet. It's really fun. We share, like a ton of the movie poster art. I love going on every day and seeing all the different movie posters. I want to shout out to Matt Herring, who's been dropping some good posts lately and starting some good conversations, as well as Jordana S. And I actually meant to pull this
Matt
up.
and Matt L. Thanks,
Matt
dude.
L.
We had a little shadow in the clouds discussions about all the stuff we just
Nice,
talked about,
Matt.
basically. And
Matt.
I'm glad that
Yeah, Matt always has something great to say. Good dude and very insightful, as we all try to be. Just go ahead and thanks Jose M for his post as well in the group. What else do we got here? Just trying to shine some light on some people that I'm getting some good conversations going. Cameron Mitchell, this guy's great. Or sorry, Cameron M. Apologies, don't sue us. He's great. He posts some good reviews. Also, another thing I just found out about was Letterboxd, where you can post your own little reviews that some of our group members have been sharing with us, their Letterboxd reviews. There was one more name I wanted to shout out because he had a good one too. They both wrote good Letterboxd things. Hold on one momento. Where is that? Oh, my buddy Jeremiah M. Who else do we got? Joshua R. That's the other one. He wrote a good Promising Young Woman review. So those are some shout outs for those of our friends in the group who have been so generous as to help us get it poppin' online. If you want to check us out on Instagram, we're at Overly Critical Movie Club. You'll find updates to episodes and promos for merchandise and for our merch, and also for bonus content and things happening on Patreon and all that kind of stuff. I am at Wolfie Cruz. That's my personal page. A lot of photography, mostly just like fun stuff I like to mess with on my phone and post interesting pictures, as well as at Wolfie Cruz Art, which is my comic book art page where I throw down on some illustration. And Matty is old beardo.
just a lot of random stuff.
Yeah. Some good illustrations. Check out Matty's art. We'll have some t-shirts soon. Don't worry. More t-shirts to come. Follow us on Twitter at Ocha Movie Club. The Twitter, I'm still getting used to using the Twitters, but we're up there. So go ahead and follow us, and you'll find also more updates and stuff like that. For some of our merch, go to tpublic.com and search Overly Critical Movie Club. Also, the links will be posted with this video, where you can check out our selection of shirts that we got going. We sold a couple shirts this last week. Thank you, Jeremiah M, for purchasing a Travis T. Sounds funny, travesty. But so go to TeePublic. We have it's a Travis Bickle caricature T-shirt. We have our logo T-shirt. We also have what's the other one? We have a couple other T-shirts at TeePublic. This is the Way is actually at Threadless. Go to our Threadless store. Those links will be there too. There's different stores that let you do different things and different kind of products. So go there for my Bounty Hunter and Alien Boy design, which is really fun. More cool movie themed T-shirts to come in the future. What else here? Blah, blah, blah. TeePublic, we got it. Gonna go ahead and thank Daniel Crozier. He's our most recent patron. He's a Ocha Movie Club junior producer. You can be one too. That's our $3 tier. That gets you access to bonus content, shout out, and as well as with the Overly Critical Classics. I know I'm going on long with this long ending, but with Overly Critical Classics, you'll also get wallpapers for your smart devices, for your phone, your iPad, or your computer that are specific to each episode and topic we're talking about. I'll try and have more collections of cool wallpapers and stuff. I think that's cool. I like to make my own wallpapers on my phone, so I made you some as well, and you'll get those along with your membership at any level, actually. So we're trying to think of cool stuff to make it real fun, and hopefully we can quit our day jobs and just bring you guys reviews and deep dives and YouTube content and whatever. We really love doing it, and this show I think is turning out pretty well so far. So
Yeah.
anyway, if there's anything you'd like to contact us about, if you'd like to, I don't know, give us any feedback, that'd be good. Go ahead and send an email to overlycriticalmovieclub@gmail.com. And as far as my little announcements at the end, I think I'm done. This is Wolfie signing off.
This is Matty. Bye-bye.